Hello. Nigerians have waited for a day like this, and here we are, that Mr. President is back to the country, and we are dedicating this edition of Weekend File to Mr. President's return. Good evening and welcome to Weekend File, your weekend companion. President Muhammadu Buhari left the country May 7th after handing over to his vice, Professor Yemi Osibajo, who functioned as acting president. In all, the president spent 103 days on medical treatment in the United Kingdom. And after undergoing successful treatment, President Buhari arrived in Nigeria amidst jubilation among many Nigerians who thronged to the airport to welcome him. He was received on arrival by a delegation led by Vice President Yemi Osibajo. Now, while in London, there were rounds of debates among Nigerians, with many urging him to resign. But majority of Nigerians resorted to prayers, insisting that the president will get better. And that's exactly what happened as the president's jet landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport at 4:35 p.m. this evening. Tonight on Weekend File, we will feel the pulse of some Nigerians as Mr. President return and issues, of course, that arose within the period of his medical sojourn in the UK, and what Nigerians expect from the reinvigorated President Muhammadu Buhari. Have a good evening once again, and welcome to this special edition of Weekend File. My name is Kirian Umayo, and on this channel, the news is first. All right, now. President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Abuja to formally resume duty after medical vacation in the United Kingdom. This put to rest negative insinuations in some quarters regarding the health status of the Nigerian leader. Our State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
It was a tense moment of anxiety, apprehension and emotional feeling at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport as the Nigerian Air Force plane 001 conveying the president and his aides taxied to a halt. And as President Muhammadu Buhari alights from the aircraft, beaming fresh smiles after 104 days in London, a joyous moment of hope, expectations and fulfillment takes center stage. Vice President Yemi Osibajo, who took charge of the country since the 7th of May this year, was at the head of President Muhammadu Buhari's welcoming party. Also at the airport includes the national chairman of the governing APC, dozens of state governors, members of the Federal Executive Council, service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, as well as other senior government officials. Simply put, everyone was highly elated.
From my face, you can see that I'm happy and I'm delighted. But what is important is that Nigerians are happy.
And we believe so many things will change for the betterment of Nigeria.
We have missed him a lot. He's a great leader. He's somebody that everybody in the world, the leaders, are proud of him. And we're very, very glad and happy that God has answered our prayers and brought him back home in good health and in such situation that he continued the good job.
And I will say, Baba, welcome back home. And we pray that God will give you the grace, the wisdom to lead this country in the right direction.
What can you tell him about Kebi rice?
We have a lot of it to feed him until he says stop.
And as President Muhammadu Buhari's motorcade headed for the city center, mammoth crowds of anxious well-wishers line up the major highway to give him a befitting welcome. It was a genuine demonstration of solidarity, acceptability and respectability to the Nigerian leader, widely acclaimed as a man of honor, enormous integrity and selfless in service to the nation and humanity. Efforts to hear from the president proved abortive, but as confirmed by the presidency, the Nigerian leader will formally address Nigerians on Monday to not only say thank you for their support, cooperation and goodwill, but many more. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Yeah, thank you, Adam Sambo, and we'll be hearing more from you from the State House in due course. Now, Vice President Yemi Osibajo has described the return of President Muhammadu Buhari as a good omen for the nation. The Vice President said this shortly after a welcome to the President at the Abuja Villa. State House correspondent Jide Onifade was also there for NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived his official residence at the presidential villa at exactly 5:30 p.m. Saturday. The president walked for about 200 meters from his gate to the residence, where he was received by the Vice President Yemi Osibajo, some state governors and ministers, as well as other well-wishers.
Well, the message to Nigeria is that, first, that the recovery and recuperation of the president is, in some sense, is symbolic of the recovery of Nigeria. Nigeria is going to recover. We're on the path to sure economic recovery. And this is a good sign, it's an excellent sign that our country is on the right path. There's great hope, there's great excitement, you know, and we're going to make it as a nation and as a people.
Atmosphere, absolutely fantastic. And we thank God we are glad. What is important is that driving from here, you see the spontaneous response of communities on the way. A massive turnout to welcome their president back home. And that indicates that the ordinary Nigerian has that basic decency, that basic humanity, that basic empathy for their president who has been ailing. And I'm glad for him that he saw what he saw coming to the villa.
Look, I keep saying that Mr. President we missed him, but governance was still going on very well. But Mr. President being back will now give us an added impetus. You see, the feeling that you have that your father is around, this makes a lot of difference to the children. So that is one of the most important things. And again, there will be no further distraction. We only pray for him to get stronger and stronger so that he can finish the job which he has started very well.
No same person will say that the president is sick and then he will not rejoice when God has given him. No, about that is insane. For me, it is something that wants to thank God already. You know what has happened these few days. We don't the convention, the rumors and the rest of it. So we're happy and that's why I'm here today. To rejoice with the family, to rejoice with him, and that's what it's supposed to be. Don't play politics with life. Don't do that.
Yesterday is gone. Let's look at tomorrow. This will be an advice to Nigerians. Let's work together. We have a duty. We have a duty to make this nation great. Not just for us, but for our children yet to grow.
We believe strongly that we are coming back to track, despite the fact that the President has a vibrant acting president who survived all this. But when you say the captain is on ground, and then with the co-pilot, you believe the aircraft will go smoothly. So now that we have the captain on ground, we have the co-pilot, the vice president, and we, as members of the modern aircraft, will definitely Nigeria will continue to run smoothly as expected.
Let us all continue to pray for him to gather more strength, more health, long life, so that he can take us to the promised land. And let's all continue to be patient with this administration, because surely we are delivering and we shall take Nigeria to the promised land.
The recovery of the president from his illness is regarded by many as prayers answered, and therefore called on Nigerians to continue praying for and supporting the president to fulfill his mandate. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Now, Nigerians converged on the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport to welcome President Muhammadu Buhari back from the United Kingdom. Debola Brooklyn Sunday was there for us.
Military officers, guard brigade pipers, and journalists formed clusters, strategizing for his arrival. Some cabinet members were also on ground to welcome their principal.
Everybody is excited, everybody is happy. And I think it put the lies on all these speculations about how incapacitated Mr. President is.
Check those who are saying resume or resign, their state of mind. Who are they speaking for? Who are they speaking for what? So there are issues that we give credence. That is not what we're giving credence.
We all Nigerians have prayed for it, and God have answered our prayer.
I'm indeed very, very elated, and Nigerians too should be very, very elated about this fact. Some members of the entourage say President Muhammadu Buhari's return beamed a ray of hope for the entire African continent.
Africa looks up to Nigeria, and you can imagine the number of African presidents who have sent him get-well messages, who have been in touch with him.
It was a trying moment for us, but when you look at it, I tell you the beauty of what has happened is that the institutions are being built. The institution is being built, it's being strengthened. It shows that it's not about an individual, it's about the institution being strengthened.
The landing of the presidential jet is what everyone here has been waiting for, and the moment was received with joy and high hopes. Celebration and jubilation continue even outside the airports. Youths from all parts of the country converge here to celebrate, to welcome, to receive their president. They are being led by Murtala Muhammad, the President, National Youth Council of Nigeria.
Today we are here in millions to celebrate, to congratulate, and also to unite the entire Nigerian on behalf of the arrival of the incorruptible leader, President Muhammadu Buhari. Today is a birthday to entire nation.
Because of he's a man of integrity, that is why people come out in march and voted for him. That is why we are here today. We are receiving him.
The mood is not different at the Karmajiji bus stop along Lugbe Airport Road, as youths here also converged on the expressway to see the arrival of their president.
I'm not feeling the sun because we are wishing the president very well. We are excited for seeing him coming back safely.
When I saw it on the telly, they wrote the news that our president is on his way coming. I was just clapping my hands, saying thank you that our president is coming. We wish our president well. May God give him long life. In anything he is looking for, God will give him long life.
We trek with our legs from our village coming down to this area to wait for Baba Buhari for coming back from, welcome him from London to Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari left Nigeria May 7 on medical vacation after a written communication to the National Assembly in line with constitutional requirements. Debola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Thank you very much indeed, Debola, for that, what should I say, beautiful report and reactions of Nigerians, even the ordinary Nigerians on the streets of Abuja. And at this point, we are going to have a conversation on the significance of this return. And in the studio with me right away here is the special advisor to the president on media and publicity. He is Femi Adesina. So you're most welcome to this program. And tonight, I'd like you to stand for Mr. President.
Gladly.
All right. All right. And in our Bini Network Center, we have Oviseri Otamere. Oviseri Otamere is a legal practitioner and notary public. Mr. Otamere, good evening and welcome to Weekend File from Benin.
Much. Good day, viewers.
Right, thank you indeed. And again, we are also going to have Ahmed Hashim from our Maiduguri Network Center, and that will be in the course of this conversation. But for now, let me begin with you, Mr. Otamara in Benin. Tell us how you feel, because you look highly elated, even in your voice. How do you feel? How are you feeling today since the president arrived? How have you been feeling?
Very well. I'm very happy. I'm elated as a true Nigerian that Mr. President has arrived and has arrived safely and in good health. Now it will put to rest the discordant voices on the state of health of Mr. President. And I also feel too that the arrival of Mr. President is very, very significant in a lot of ways. Now you will recall that when Mr. President was away, there were a lot of issues bordering on his absence. Critics caught on that opportunity to criticize his absence and all of that. I feel that critics should know when to pull the brakes when we are looking at national issues and respect for the office of Mr. President. I also feel too that Mr. President's absence has helped to actually proving to Nigerians that we can have a president who can believe in institutions of the nation rather than the sole powers of Mr. President. Because Mr. President has proven himself as a team player by handing over the first president in the country, dead or alive, that can be really been in the record of history to have transmitted a letter to the National Assembly of his absence and giving powers to the Vice President. And Mr. Vice President will take charge. Mr. Vice President carried out all the functions of Mr. President, and it also goes to prove that there is oneness in this nation, and we can have a president who can work with a vice president irrespective of wherever Mr. Vice President comes from in any of the geographical zones of the nation. So what has happened in Nigeria in the past 107 days is of great significance, that we are one united Nigeria, and that religious leaders haven't prayed for Mr. President. Their prayers haven't been answered is a good omen for the nation. So I am really very happy, and I am glad that Mr. President's arrival will bring about a lot of good things to our nation, Nigeria.
Okay, remaining with you, Mr. Tamere, I'm sure you drove around Benin on your way to get into NTA Benin headquarters. Now, what did you see along the street? How are Nigerians in Benin reacting to this?
Well, in Benin City, Edo State, we are also happy that Mr. President is back. And I'm sure that our very dynamic governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, is also very happy, although I've not seen him in any of the functions, public functions today, but I believe that he is very, very happy because we from Edo State are quite happy that Mr. President is back in good health. I can see the jubilation in Abuja, and that is the kind of feeling we also have here in Benin City. We still wish that Mr. President will continue to be in good health and really take over, pilot the affairs of this country very well and strengthen the smooth running of the administration of the country that Mr. Vice President has been doing for the past 107 days that Mr. President has been away.
Much indeed. We will likely return to you in the course of this conversation. And now back to our Abuja studio where Mr. Femi Adesina is. You saw it all. You were among those who visited Mr. President in London. And while you were there, did it occur to you that it's really time for him to return? Did you have any inkling of that?
Yes, don't forget that he had told us that left to him, he was set to return home, but that he needed to obey his doctors. That was 1 week ago. And the way I saw him then, I saw that he was good to go. He could return home. But then he said he had learned to obey orders. So it's good that he stayed the course till his doctors told him that...
On a lighter note, were you surprised that him, knowing Mr. President as an ex-military person, who hardly takes, listens, when it comes to personal matters, he was able to listen this time around?
Yes, because now he's a Democrat. There is a difference between when he was a military ruler and now that he's a democratic leader. So democracy is all-encompassing.
Okay. Now, let's go back to one issue that Mr. Temai also raised, transmission of power, from him to the vice president, to take over the mantle of leadership while he was away. Many Nigerians made issues out of that. How do you sum that up?
Well, storming a teacup, it wasn't necessary. But maybe some people needed to keep themselves active and keep themselves happy, so they continued to raise that dust. It was not necessary. What the Constitution requires is that if a president is going to be away for a while, he transmits power to the vice president, who becomes acting president. The president complied with that constitutional provision. So I didn't understand what the fuss was about. It was just a waste of time, really.
Now, another issue also raised, which is very significant within the period that Mr. President was away. I'd like to ask you to tell me what lessons, that we could derive from such circumstances where a president took ill, transmitted power, and of course was away for a number of months. And then there are utterances devoid of love, and as one of the functionaries who knows Mr. President, who is closer to Mr. President than all of the Nigerians, now, how is Mr. President taking such negative comments by some Nigerians?
As far as I know, based on what I saw in London last week, when he told us that he was following events at home very keenly, he spoke about the resume or resign protest. He said, I've been watching it on television. He mentioned the name of somebody who said was the leader, and he just laughed. And there's the laughter that is malicious, and there is one that is just casual. The laughter was not malicious at all. So I learned that Mr. President is not holding anything against anybody.
Now, coming to Mr. President and his ideology, political ideology, he's one man who has a zero tolerance for mismanagement of funds, violation of financial regulations. Now that he's back, do you think that he will continue the fight? Could he sustain the vigor and vitality with which he started, in the fight against the corruption, for instance?
There's a saying that what is bred in the bones cannot go out through the flesh. With Mr. President, abhorrence of corruption is bred in his bones. Therefore, he will continue. Don't forget that he set 3 priorities for the administration. 1, secure the country. 2, fight corruption. 3, revive the economy. Those 3 things are going to still be the signposts of the administration. He will continue with them.
All right. The social security program of the Buhari administration is said to be expanding. It's expanded up to 14 states now. With his return, is there going to be a boost in that direction, knowing fully well that we have 36 states of the federation, including Abuja?
You needed to see the crowd that turned up to welcome Mr. President today. And most of them, apart from the elite class that was at the airport, the people on the streets were the lower class people, the ordinary people. And those are the people Mr. President loves most. The social security scheme is geared towards those people. In the social security scheme, you have the Empower, you have the microcredit scheme, you have the conditional cash transfer, and you have the free school feeding program. These are for the lower class people, so to speak. And Mr. President will not compromise with that, because dear to his heart are those people. He will never compromise on those projects. Rather, they will expand and grow bigger.
Thank you very much, Femi Additional. We'll return to you as this conversation continues. But for now, we'd like to take you to Edo State. Edo citizens are happy that President Muhammadu Buhari is back in the country after his medical vacation in the UK. Frank Okonofua, who interviewed a cross-section of Nigerians in Benin, brought us this report.
The people say the return of Mr. President has rekindled the hope of Nigerians that the electoral promises by President Buhari to Nigerians will be fulfilled. Respondents, however, commended the acting president, Professor Yemi Osibajo, who stood in the gap for his credible performance.
It's like a dad, after staying away on the trip for about 2-3 days and is coming home, is all about Baba Didi.
I feel very, very happy that we have the president back healthy.
I was happy over his, for God giving me a speedy recovery.
As Nigeria, we are happy that our president is back. It's been a long time, like his father left his children and is back, so we are very happy.
It's a welcome development because we have been expecting him to be back all the time so that he could look into the country's affairs.
President Muhammadu Buhari left Nigeria on the 7th of May this year in Benin. Frank Okonofua, NTA News.
All right, Mr. Otamere, we have seen it all now that we're shown a report from our correspondent in Benin. Now, Mr. Otamere, they're talking about administration and the ideology of Mr. President. And Edo State for now is being governed by the APC government. Now, have you seen any effect of the president's ideology being affected in the governance of Edo State?
Well, it's quite obvious. In terms of financial discipline, in terms of probity and integrity, in terms of real managerial skills, it would appear that our governor here in Edo State, Godwin Noregase Obaseki, actually learned the ropes of the president of the country. Mr. Governor in Edo State doesn't believe in wastages at all, and he doesn't also believe that there should be any financial misappropriation from any parts of the institutions in the state. And so that is very key in terms of development of any state. And so when we have a replica of that financial standard being maintained in Edo State, just as Mr. President is also trying to do in the country. So we are really very, very much impressed with that. And following that, we have been able to see a lot of development in the state. I mean, even when you have the rains, you also have construction of roads and all of that. And so even critics, ordinarily in Edo State, they have learned to discover that they just cannot help but give kudos to the governor for making such efforts. So that is one thing that I have also learned in the state right now.
Right, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Tamari. And back to the studio here, where I still have Femi Additional, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity. Now, let's talk about the relationship, between Mr. President and his vice. But as Mr. Tamara actually noted in the early part of his contribution to this conversation, did mention the fact that it's the first president in the history of Nigeria, to do that willingly. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I've noticed what I can describe as mutual respect between the president and the vice president. They deeply respect each other, they regard each other. So it was not difficult for Mr. President to transmit power. One, Mr. President will like to do what is right, he would like to do what is legal, he would like to do what is constitutional. And then two, he has a deputy that he knows is loyal, would not backstab him. And so it was very easy for him to just have handed over. And that was what he did all through the period that the health challenge lasted.
All right. Let's return to Benin for the final question to Mr. Tamara. Mr. Tamara, what's your final thoughts, in all of this. Mr. President is back, and what are you expecting from him?
What I expect from Mr. President is to look at the way the nation received him, irrespective of the political divide of all the political gladiators. I saw PDP governors as well as APC governors welcoming Mr. President. So it means that Mr. President should know that everybody in the country loves him. And he should really settle down to the business of the day, ensure that whatever be the any issue that he needs to personally attend to is handled with speed. And he should also look at the economic recession we are currently passing through in the country and double his efforts in ensuring that succor is really brought to the ordinary masses. Just as the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, has rightly pointed out, the empowerment scheme and very many other schemes of the federal government that will empower the masses, Mr. President will need to intensify efforts so that the ordinary masses would really benefit. So I want to give kudos to Mr. President. He is on course. The governed as well should also know that government is not just only for those that are in power. The governed are also involved in governance. So patience is required. Suggestions, meaningful suggestions are needed so that we can build one Nigeria and make success of the mission of government.
Right, at this point, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Ovanseri Otamere from Benin. Thanks for your time and your kind thoughts from Mr. President, and also your kind thoughts for Nigeria as a nation. Thank you for being part of Weekend File today.
So much.
All right, back to the studio. This is Weekend File, special edition of the program. We shall take a break now. When we return, we shall continue our conversation on the return of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. Stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Nigeria is a strong emerging world economy with a population of over 170 million people. With the diligent work of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, in line with the federal government's economic diversification agenda, SON has put in place accredited laboratories to ensure that made in Nigeria products meet international standards and ready for export. SON regularly conducts products registration, certifications, factory inspections, monitoring, a metrology laboratory to get accurate measurements, while SONCAP checks the conformity of imported products and the SON Legal Act to prosecute offenders. Don't sell and don't buy substandard products. Before you buy, look well. See something, say something, or call these numbers. SON, improving life through standards.
We want to buy Indomie noodles. 4 packs, please.
Yo.
This is not my Indomie.
Please, sir, it's not Indomie. Don't call it Indomie.
Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is in the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy a delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
Taste is the difference.
Yes. Difference is in the taste. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC as an agency is indeed doing so much to protect the health of our nation. I urge everyone to support NAFDAC in ridding the country of fake drugs and unwholesome products.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Bayes University Abuja offers world-class education, uninterrupted academic session, and promising degrees. Bayes University Abuja is affordable and delivers quality with experienced international staff, superb facilities, overseas external examiners, and a serene academic atmosphere. We offer quality and affordable education, and students are within easy reach of their parents here at Bayes University Abuja. So learn to live at Bayes University for a brighter future. For more information, visit our website at www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng or call 081 3376 9657 or 081 3376 9658. Bayes University Abuja. Learn to live.
Get ready for the Diaspora Festival, Badagry, Lagos, as we welcome diasporans.
Our ancestors walked through the door of no return. Now we walk through the door of return.
And also to celebrate the cultural heritage of Nigeria. Theme, Voyage to Heritage, featuring a lot of exciting activities like the historic Door of Return ceremony, carnival procession, boat regatta, dark era procession, fishing competition, heritage site visits, international music concert, an international symposium, themed African diaspora beyond the Atlantic, and lots more. Date, 23rd to 25th of August 2017. For sponsorship and more information, please call. Come and join the Voyage to Heritage. See you there. Going back to my roots.
And we thank you for staying with us on this special edition of Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. And we have another guest now to join us all the way from Maiduguri Network Center, and he is Ahmed Hashem. Ahmed Hashem is the president of Borno State Chamber of Commerce, Mines and Industry. Mr. Hashem, good evening and welcome to Weekend File.
Good evening, Karen. Thank you.
All right, now I want to begin with you as an individual. How do you feel today, or how have you been feeling since the news broke that the president is back to the nation?
I am very happy. Indeed, all the people of Maiduguri and Borno State are very happy that our president has returned, looking healthier, and looking robust, and ready to work. So we are elated, and we thank God for his health, we thank God for his life, and we look forward to him now continuing with the good work that he has been doing before he left for this medical treatment.
To tell us how other people from Maiduguri have been reacting to this news.
In fact, particularly the youth. If you see how people were celebrating the arrival of Mr. President today on the streets of Maiduguri, you will be happy because it shows the spontaneity of support for the president. And I feel that that is what any leader needs, or every leader needs to perform in government. And therefore, he has the support of the people, he has backing of the people, and our prayers has really been answered by the Almighty Allah, and we wish him more strength and more health in future.
All right, I'll remain with you. The fight against Boko Haram insurgency, intensified with the coming of this administration, and a huge achievement recorded with the technical defeat of Boko Haram insurgents. Now, despite the pockets of suicide missions being recorded, Nigerians know that a big job has been done so far in trying to stop the insurgents. Now, how is business doing in Maiduguri, which is recovering, from insurgency attacks? And what would you be telling Mr. President if you're asked to do so with respect to what should be done to continue the fight against Boko Haram?
You see, because of Mr. President, I am sitting here today in this studio in Maiduguri to speak to Nigerians. Had the president not won this election in 2015, we would all have left this town and gone somewhere else. So you see, we are all grateful to him for committing himself to bringing to an end this insurgency, and in fact practically demonstrating that he intends to bring to an end the activities of these miscreants. And Maiduguri today is very peaceful, in spite of, like you just said, about the isolated cases of bombing and so on, but Maiduguri is quite peaceful, and we are picking up our pieces to go back to our lives back as we used to do before. So we thank Mr. President for that one.
All right, Mr. Ahmed Hashim, I want to thank you at this point for sharing your time and your thoughts with us on this very special occasion in Nigeria, where the president has returned and everybody is looking forward to more actions, on the part of Mr. President to ensure that he achieves his aims and objectives with respect to administering this complex nation, if you like. Thank you again for coming on Weekend File.
Much. Thank you for having me on the program. Thank you so much.
All right, and we're back to Abuja, where Mr. Femi Adesina is still sitting here with me. We were talking about the synergy between the president and his vice shortly before we went to Maiduguri, and the way the acting president then piloted the affairs of this nation. Was that in conformity, with the laid down, program of development by this administration?
Yes, like we have always maintained, the presidency is one. The president and the vice president, they have a joint ticket, so to speak, and they have a joint vision. So while the president was away and the vice president was acting as the president, he continued with the programs of the administration. So anything you saw him doing was part of the vision that had been enunciated for the country.
And with the fact that far-reaching decisions has been taken, appointments made, and what have you?
Yes, yes, government is a continuum. Even if one government exits and another comes in, it's a continuum, not to talk of the same government.
Now the president is back, and you are one of the functionaries who work with the president on a daily basis. And what are you expecting?
Well, we're glad to have him back. Even the acting president, you could see the delight in him that the president was back. And we look forward to his settling down to do the work. Like I said, while he was away, the vision of the administration continued to run. So it's just a continuation of what.
Now, what will be telling Nigerians, who have been raising issues within this period? Many Nigerians have been saying a few things that are not really
I still believe those who said those things you referred to are in the minority. In fact, tiny minority. You needed to see the crowd that turned out to welcome the president. As the convoy rode from the airport into the city, you needed to see jubilation everywhere. And these largely are the ordinary people who are bearing the brunt of the economic hardship that the country is passing through, which shows that they know that this is a temporary hardship and that the man that is leading them is trustworthy. The man that is leading them is honest. He's a man of integrity. So that's why they turned out that way. Therefore, all those who come with all this wailing and all that should just be patient and be patriotic and team up with the government to take Nigeria to where the president wants to take her.
Now, talking about integrity, one writer said that if we have 10 Buharis, that things will get better in this country. And at this point, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity. Thanks for your time. Also, thank you for standing for Mr. President at the beginning of this program.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed. You are still watching the special edition of Weekend File. More on President Buhari's return when we come back.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament.
So many things have been wrong in sports. We've been talking around it.
We need performance expertise, and you can only get some of this where you have world-class facilities.
How can sports deliver return of investment to attract the kind of money required to take it to the next level?
We cannot interfere in the internal affairs of even the federations that belongs to us.
Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA, Thursdays at 11 p.m. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Residents of Kano have expressed joy over the return of Mr. President. And those who spoke to Mansour Aliyu Hassan, our correspondent there on the streets of Kano, say the residents, the president's return will improve the atmosphere in the country.
We are grateful to Almighty God for bringing him back healthy and hearty to continue to steer the affairs of our dear nation, Nigeria. And I want to use this opportunity to call upon all and sundry, that is all the people of Nigeria, to give him all the necessary support.
It's a very, very beautiful day for all of us, and we pray that may he continue to get stronger health-wise, so that he will continue to give all the leadership that we are yearning for in this country. It's something that we are really very grateful, we are joyful, we are grateful to God for making it possible for him to be back to this country today.
This is something that each and every patriotic Nigerian will be happy because he's our president and he has been away, and although there has been a mixed reaction, a lot of people are aspiring for him to come back, and although there are some kind of political tension, some doesn't want him to come back, but alhamdulillah.
As he starts his programs and his good vision for this country, we wish him success and we wish him the best, and we feel the best thing that can happen to the country.
President of the Senate, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, has welcomed President Muhammadu Buhari back to Nigeria. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Yusuf Olanionu, Saraki thanked God for the safe return and recovery of the president and reaffirmed the commitment of the National Assembly to continue working alongside the president to improve the standard of living of Nigerians. The statement further commended the Vice President, Professor Yemi, Osibajo, for leading the country in Mr. President's absence. It adds that with the return of the President, all branches of government must continue to sink to strengthen the economy. He said, moving forward over the next few weeks, I am sure I speak on behalf of all the senators when I say that we look forward to considering the request by the presidency, which is before the National Assembly. Similarly, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has welcomed President Muhammadu Buhari back to the country after 3 months of medical vacation in the United Kingdom. A statement signed by his special advisor on media and public affairs, Turaki Hassan. The Speaker expressed gratitude to Almighty God for granting the President healing and journey mercies back home. Dogara noted that the President's recovery and safe return home attests to the healing power of God, owing to the fervent prayers of Nigerians who prayed day and night for the President. He said it is now time for all Nigerians to continue to pray for the President for the perfection of the healing and divine rejuvenation to enable the President to steer the affairs of the nation in the right direction. Dogara said the House of Representatives wishes to assure the President of its determination, support and commitment towards delivering on our promises to the Nigerian people as members of the same government. Now, the All Progressive Congress, APC, says it is determined to fulfill all the electoral promises the party made to Nigerians. This is coming on the heels of President Muhammadu Buhari's return after his medical vacation in the UK. A statement signed by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, indicates that the party expresses gratitude to God for the safe return of the President and commends the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, for his competent leadership during the President's absence, as well as his efforts to unite the country and drive the recovery of the nation's economy. The party also thanked Nigerians for their prayers and charged them to remain calm and hopeful for a better Nigeria. Now, we are going to another commercial break and we'll be back in a moment.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You are here already?
No, now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me job questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The program is a very laudable achievement on the part of the federal government and state government. Since the commencement of the program, the children are really doing fine. The vendors are wonderful. In fact, they are doing a good job. They usually come to school on time. They serve the children, they serve the pupils. The program has really helped the children because there are some pupils, they don't have access to balanced diet. With the commencement of this program, many lives have been touched. They have easy access to balanced diet. It has really helped the children a lot.
Meanwhile, some analysts on NTA's special discussion program on President Buhari's return say the overheating of the polity will now be stabilized for overall growth and development of the nation. Talatu Ezerike reports.
The return of President Buhari, analysts strongly believe, calls for celebration, except for those with ill feelings.
There was no case of doctrine of necessity because in due form, he transmitted powers, okay, and informed the National Assembly and left. So also this one that is happening now, we are learning from it, is building our democracy. It's a positive thing that we have learned to be patient, prayerful. The man has gone, he's coming back. Even if he has to go again, let us know that we are simple human beings.
We are grateful to God that the man is back home. We just want to see him hit the ground, not running, but hit the ground working. It's a thing of joy. The distraction of when is the president coming, he should resume or resign, that is now far behind us. We are over that. At least we have all seen somebody who said he had 11 pictures of the president on, in life support, and all those nonsense talks can now be put behind the burners. We can now face the true business of nation building.
They agreed that there was no break in governance, but that his return would consolidate governance and win the fight against corruption for overall growth.
Because there were political alignment and realignment that are beginning to take place, especially when it was speculated that the man was on a life support machine. And people are beginning to permutate towards 2019, and suddenly the same man, alighted from the plane, stood for the national anthem, and walked into his car, heading towards the villa, and you said everybody is happy.
Buhari is trying everything possible to fix most of the sector we have in the health sector, in the education, like the education they are so strike now. They are engaging them, and their issues will look. So, and very soon the issue will be resolved. What I'm saying in a sense that the issue of health sector will be handled very well.
The discussants cautioned against hate speech and wrong social media reports as they advised Nigerians to allow the president recuperates. Talatu Ezerike, NTA News.
All right, thank you, Talatu. Next is sports. Nigeria Chance Super Eagles qualify for the 2018 African Nations Champions, bid for Kenya at the expense of Benin Republic. Now let's get to Adiola Omokivi for this and more on Sports Update.